I was born in the Balkans. That's Moldavia now. It was Bessarabia. That's the capital of Bessarabia.
Oh.
Kishinev. That's in Russian.
I can tell I'm never going to be able to spell all these names.
Kishinev.
What?
Kishinev.
That's the capital of Bessarabia. That's the heart of all that Gypsy, Romanian, and everything in Russian.
It's in the Soviet Union now.
It is the Soviet. You see, this belonged to the Soviets. But in my time, when I was there, the Romanians, they gave it to the Romania. And now Russia took it back. And in other ways, there were a lot of exchanges there. We had the Greeks there, we had it wasn't really Russia. Russia, it was maybe over. It was once Romania, before, 100 and 200 years ago. Romania had it. But Russia had it for so many, but after the First World War, when the Russian Revolution, they split, they took a lot, they gave to Poland and they gave to Russia. That's how they gave Latvia, Lithuania, all separate states were at that time.
Yeah.
So Romania became big, the big Romania. But in this war, Russia took everything back, everything. But the people were Russian people. And they say the people were the majority Russian, but it was controlled under Romania, so they changed the streets and they changed everything, and the names and the schooling, everything was in Romanian.
But the music?
But the music, see, you can't change the people.
Right.
Do you understand? The people, no matter how much you want to force them, it's still Russian people. I mean, the majority of the people were Russian, and not sure we were Jews, a lot of Jews in that city. But that's it. And then we left to America, to the United States.
What year did you leave?
In 34.
34. And then you came to New York?
I was 16. I came to New York and lived all my life in New York until 3 years ago. Came to Florida.
To where? To
Florida.
Florida.
I'm in Florida now.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm in Florida now.
And where in Florida?
Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale. Okay.
And New York is a city that we start to play, but I originally never played the Balalaika and the Domra or the Mandolin.
Oh, what was your original?
No, not this. See, we didn't play that. You see, in those days, if you wanted to play, it's the violin. This is where they had a conservatory. And even now, they had one of the best schooling in Russia. They traveled from Leningrad out to take lessons, good schools in Kishinev. And on that time, you know who played the mandolin in those days? The barbers. And that was they're looking down, and it was disgraceful, you know.
Oh, no!
It's a fact, it's a fact.
I mean, it was disgraceful to play the mandolin.
No, if you're a player, that means no, it doesn't really, not that classless. It wasn't nice to play these instruments. This belongs to the, understand, to the barber, or the, if you want. In fact, they wouldn't even teach. It wasn't the school. There was a conservative, one of the best, really, there. And they wouldn't teach those instruments. It was all the, from the symphony, violin, cello, piano, all that. So naturally we learned, I studied, and I was really lucky that I had one of the best. Too bad it wasn't long enough that I had to leave. And they really, we listened to me. You heard George Enescu? This is a world-renowned player. World-renowned. That's it. He was the world-renowned.
He was your teacher?
He came there, he started me, but he left back to Bucharest, to the capital. This was Kishinev. And he left me to his pupil, which was also one of the top.
Oh, yeah.
Understand? So I was studying with him, and he came, again, used to come to visit. And that's how, and he always admired that I was very talented. Then when I came to the United States, in that time, was a depression, and they had the best violinists in the world were starving. So I thought to myself, I was young, especially I liked and I played well, and I thought to myself, we'll continue here. After all, the United States is New York, but things were so bad. So we were looking for something else to do as far as making a living. I was grown up and all that, and then first I was working at a job, then I was then that's how I started to switch. Instead of the violin, I'll start playing the mandolin.
Oh.
You know,
How old were you then?
I was young. I told you, when I came, was 16 and a half years. When I came. And to play with the violin in the park, you know, you go with girls and the wall, you're going to stay with the violin to play. You know, here, they play mandolins and guitars and all that. So I thought to myself, well, instead of playing it this way, we'll start playing that. But this was with the mandolin. But then I met Alexander Kuchin, you know, Kuchin, which is until today. I was his concertmaster for many years. I would say 30 years. You know, Kuchin, just now I spoke to him. Yeah. He said, I played with him in 46, right after the war, when we played for the right in Times Square. I would have played that time with him. Realize how many years that is? Understand? And then, naturally, after a while, the orchestra symphony, we played all in the big places in New York.
You played violin, right?
Yes, but I dropped it.
Oh.
In fact, I'm going back on it now, because in Fort Lauderdale, the mandolin groups are very weak and poor playing.
With Kuchin, you played the Domra, though.
But with Kuchin, I played the Domra.
Oh, okay. Right.
Understand? I played with Kuchin, I played the Domra, which is the same thing with the mandolin. But I always had mandolins. We had always groups who played commercially. With the mandolin, electric mandolin, and all kinds of combinations. And we always had jobs, besides playing concerts in the big places, you know, like Town Hall, Carnegie, you know. Besides that, we played jobs, and I'm still a union man at 802. I had to be, otherwise I couldn't play in places. And we always picked the places, special places to play. Like the UN ambassadors at a New Year's party. All the ambassadors was the Turkish and the Greek and the Russian and all that with the wives. Oh, that's the job. This is the job. See, I had a business on the side. This was not my livelihood, understand? So, instead, all those special jobs, special places to play, occasionally they would call me, you know, this one, would, you know, to the union. And in our own group, we play a lot, very interesting place, and I always enjoyed it. It was very
around New York
all
City?
Around New York and outside New York too. We go. I never wanted to go too far. We went on a tour, even on the boat, but I ran into trouble as far. You know, I was always a family man and didn't want to leave the wife, and you understand? And all that. But yes, we played a lot. Now, as far as Charles is concerned,
Martin played all the years with his brother Max.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was killed.
Yeah, he was killed. I played with him. We always had groups of all kinds. It all depends what occasion. Right away from the union we got, because the basic three we had, understand? And then and with Charles, I want to tell you what happened. Then I got interested in Balalaika. Once I played with Kuchin, I played the Domra, the prima. But I also went through all the instruments, from the bass. Otherwise, I didn't want to play. You know, I want to play the bass and the alto and the cello, which I did. And I had all the instruments. Now Charles is the one that is so popular. Everybody knows he sold half of them. He sold all my instruments. But as far as Charles is concerned, I was not a single. Then I got married, and then I moved and I bought a home right on Charles Street. East State. It was a nice neighborhood.
What year is this?
This was. I know that Charles was 15. I don't know how old he is. So that should be about 20 years,
22 years ago.
Something like that.
22 years
See,
ago.
I don't know exactly. And when I moved in there, and we moved there, we wanted a house in that block. It was really a special block. It is one of the nicest blocks in that neighborhood. Even today it is. And one of our friends lived there. And finally they got a house right next to it. And she lived there already many, she knew everybody, and we were newcomers. We came, and she mentioned, well, you know, there's a fella, tells me, Charles, and he's 15 years old, she says, and he wants to play. She says, his father just passed away, which I really never knew his father. When I moved in, his father, it happened to be that year that he passed away. And he wants to play. You see, I never wanted to teach. I never wanted to show. I always like to do it myself. Any time that I have, I want it for myself. No matter how much, unless you are talented, then I'll do it free.
All right.
If I see that you're talented and someone, I'll show you any. But if you're not just for money, and if I see that you haven't got anything special, so I said with Charles, I said, send him in. I want to see the boy. You know, he said the father passed away and this, and he wants to. I want to see. So Charles came in to me, and I gave him, and I saw, I didn't know, I won't tell him to the other what, but I saw the interest that he has, that he wants. I saw this willing. I think I'm handling something for $15. I went to got one a mandolin for $15.
Oh, you didn't have a mandolin?
No, I had one, but
What did you have?
It was
No.
worse than a $15 one?
Oh, you had something, but I got one that was good. It was not good. At least this was $15, but it was correct.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you get a cheap instrument, but it's a correct. One thing I'm very sensitive with an instrument. That's why I always test it.
Yeah.
When I saw your instrument, I said, this girl's got an ear. Because some good players, if I tell you really good players, you ought to see their instruments.
Oh,
Terrible,
yeah.
terrible. And they play like that. It doesn't evidently
They
don't
get
bother
used to
them.
it, I guess.
No, it doesn't bother them. So when Charles, I started, and I saw that guy's picking up. Every time I would walk, you know, my dog, we lived on the same block. Every day I walk my dog in the evening, at night, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. I do walk my dog in the evening. I came back from I hear Charles, I hear he's practicing. and every time I really didn't come and, you know, like sit down for a lesson. He didn't do it that way. Later on, he didn't do it no more. Maybe in the beginning, yes. But later on, every time we would come in and just listen and try to copy all the little, until today. If you hear Charles, it's me. If you hear you playing a Charles, it's a fact. All those Russian, all those little, and he picked it up and he's done. And I think Charles is one of the best Domra players.
Definitely.
I'm just telling you that. And he did. That's a fine Charles. That's how he is. Then it didn't take long. Charles right away. He met all these boys that I see now here.
Yeah.
Why did they made a group? But every time they would come into land, I knew, you know, from the same number, so I knew variation, I knew this, I knew that. And right away, now in fact, now for the last few years already, which I don't play with the groups no more than now, I'm learning from them some new stuff.
Great.
Which it's true.
Good way to come back around.
That's it, see, because they keep up now with the late, they get the numbers, and I don't get them. Understand? But I like, so now I'm interested just to know something that are really nice, and there's something, you know, that really appeals to me. I said, I'd like to have it, and Charles will always send it to me. Well, I said, Charles.
That you have, though, that you know from Europe, nobody else knows that music.
Yes, yeah, that's just about the music.
That's what Andy
See,
Statman was interested
this
in.
my came to me, and he talks to me about certain things. I was brought up in a place, don't see, I know all the old stuff, all the old, they have this, now very popular, this klezmer music. To me, I don't want to see it even, I don't want it, because who would care for it? I mean, who would care to I should play those numbers? I know them, and once I know them, I hear, there's no problem, I can play them. And I know them, and I know the old timers way back, because see, I was in the field, my father was a cantor too, was a musical house, understand? And we know that stuff too, liturgical. And the Jewish songs, or for the theater, or anything else, I always liked everything. So I know all that music. And the Russian, and I played with Italians and with Greeks, because I like all the things. Never played this jazz, and until today I'm sorry. I might start yet.
You should start.
I'm telling you, child, this is the only thing. You tell me from any country that I didn't play, that I don't, right away appeals to me and I could go for it. Even from the different islands have different styles and all that. So I thought, this I started, it's so popular, the bluegrass. Understand, a few bluegrass and country music. You play country, you like that too?
Yeah, but mostly jazz.
It's very popular, this country music.
Yeah.
It's so popular, you have no idea. They're demanding, you know, when you entertain them, they want to have the country music numbers.
What did Andy Statman?
Yeah, tell me the
but Andy Statman. Andy Statman, the same thing I'm telling you, I didn't need the money. I made a living, I had a business which I made a living in this. And also, when a person doesn't feel that is good, I don't look for money. And the only time I make you pay, I make people pay. Don't think I was, I make people pay. So this Statman, I got I play, and you better pay. I good, or else I don't want. I don't want to waste it. I got paid well one day where I have to. So with Statman, I got a telephone call. He says, my name's so-and-so. Truthfully, I never heard of it. Because I told you, I'm not interested in bluegrass, and I probably wouldn't know until today. Calls up, she says, I don't know who gave him, truthfully, the name.
Zev Feldman.
See, he knows more than the what. You know, I never pay attention to what's the difference. What's the difference? Somebody told him that he wants to learn some Near Eastern music. I said, yes, I know. And then he says, he wants to pay me. So whatever I ask, he said, just like that. I didn't say anything, yes, no. I got to see the person before I... And he came down, and the way he was dressed, which it's normal, but to me, if you're not dressed, you know, with a tie and white, so you've got no money. But he says, I want to, so when he said money, I didn't say, I didn't want to, you know, say anything about money. I said, don't worry about it, about the money. First, I wanted to see. And I said, what do you want? He says, I want to learn some numbers, and I want to hear some numbers. I said, okay. And so I say, you play. You play? He says, yes, I play in the Mandolin. He told me I play bluegrass, but he didn't tell him who he was, that he's considered, you know, that it's very popular.
Everywhere.
So he was telling us the story of Andy.
About Stanley, yeah, about Andy.
Andy.
So he calls me up. Anyway, he came over, and I say, play them. I wanted to hear how well he plays. I saw he's very good technique, good everything. But the pick, the way they hold, they play different.
Wait,
I would say, when it comes to mandolin playing, and then I would say 99%. I used to say 95%. Now I went down to 99. That don't have a good right hand.
Right.
They play like this. And that's the one thing. Those, and they can be good players. Has nothing to do with this hand. I think they might be very good. This hand is not good. And to have, if you really want to have power and to be clean and deliver, it's only.
Yeah. Well,
you see, like this. See, you can do it soft, and you have power. You will never go the other way. You can go down to Sophia as you want. See, it's clean. This. I know, but Charles has got the best right hand among all the players. So not that it was bad, he did. So what? First thing, I didn't know who he was. He says, and then I played, you know, that number, and he sees my right hand the right way. He says, please to show him how he wants to change. So I said to him, don't change now, not at this stage, because I say he's really an excellent player. He's really a good player. There's no question about it. Yeah. There's nothing to show him as far as the technical and the fingers and the pick. This way, especially this bluegrass, you know, they jump, but they do it like this. It's easier to do it this way, from one string to the other. And this is mostly, you know, what the bluegrass style is. To teach something of a change than one that plays already like and it made no sense. I said, the only thing is for power. They don't, but they don't need it. I mean, he can do it. I don't say he cannot do it, but this is your way. When I play it, and I play it, and then I don't care to keep. I never kept music, but I didn't keep music. I still had about 500 pounds, which I lost it on the way coming to Florida, and I collected. I lost all my music. Oh, no. But it's luckily I don't need it. I remember. But I need it for my piano. I need it for the other one. So he's going to send me now, Charles, I want to have this. Now I asked Kuchin to send me for my... we have the Spanish Capricho Español by Munier.
That's what I gave you.
He gave it, so he brought it to me. I played it in Town Hall in Carnegie. So I wanted it, so he gave me now. Now I asked Kuchin to give the piano parts. I need to give it to write the piano parts for the down. My numbers, I'll remember, I'll do it.
It's a piece composed for the mandolin by Munier.
Special Munier, wow. Like a concerto, it's a beautiful number. So anyway, so I asked, so he started to play. So I want to give him the music of one number of mine. I said that, I have that, and I wanted to see. So I saw that he's a little bit weak in music. Reading this, he said, so he made himself, no, I don't, we play mostly, we pick up everything by ear. All right, so I saw that, because to me, one that has an ear has to me more than one plays with music and is not, and is not talented. One, you give me one without the music. Although I like to play with music and without it, I like both. So he said, no, I said, oh, I want you to record, tape it from me, tape me the numbers. So, okay, so we'll pick one. I don't remember which ones I did several. So we did that one and this and that, and he tried right. But right away I saw it. Amazing. I was amazed. I thought it's special training. He tells me that all of them, those that play the bluegrass, they pick up so fast. Not just pick up, some you can pick up the melody and have a and your style of playing is different. He'll copy you just exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, the whole style.
Imagine, I thought that I was playing. And so he went, took the tape, went home and called me. Every time he insisted again with the money, every time he did. And I made up my mind, forget it, I don't want no money, I don't. He came several times. He would call me a month, 2 weeks later, a month later. Then he went something on a tour. 3 months, he disappeared. Came down. It kept up like this. I don't remember how long.
Years? Several years? Or?
What? Until I gave him, these numbers. And then I ride in the way, when I drive the car, I always put on the station, I read, I hear some anybody's playing. And now, it's one thing, he never told me where he's playing, what he's doing, who he is. Understand what I mean? I did. I hear that number. And certain numbers other people can play it, and that's a number that's printed. This number nobody has. That's my, it's my variations, my thing, nobody has it. And I see he plays that number. And I'm listening, what the heck is it? Was it me that I played somebody, or they played that? Then they announced his name. I'm telling you, I couldn't get over it. It was a surprise.
Yeah.
Then after all that he got all the numbers, then it was amazing how he picked it up, really amazing, exactly. And then people come to me. I never went to listen to him. I never heard the recording that he made. I never did. In fact, but people are coming to tell me, do you know, I was at a concert in Stanton, and he mentions your name. So I thought, well, I didn't expect it. I didn't even think of it. I think that was nice of it. He says, he mentions your name, that he take the number. Now they tell me there's a recording, and he mentions my name, or what? He's got a name there?
Your name?
They're telling me, I don't know about it. So I said, let me have it. Does she know this man, the professor? Are you connected with him? I meet so many people.
Oh, I know him.
But you have nothing to do with him. He's after me. I'm telling. He gave me also. He gave me now on records. This has nothing to do, because I come from that part that I told you, and they play all that type of music, and he. What is this? He's a professor. He teaches in the school.
He teaches
ancient history. And something like that.
Professor.
Music history?
Not music and...
oh, yeah?
Yes.
Everything.
And he's interested, in fact, he's the one that collects all these old numbers from the Jewish, the klezmer and gypsy. And all the numbers and the yes. And he mentioned some numbers, which I know that he wanted to know, and he got so much interested. I said, who's sponsoring, who's paying the money? He says, there's a record company, but he's the one that supplies him with all the information, with the numbers, with everything, and then he's interested very much to her. And he gave me one of these records. Out there, I'm going to break it. How can you take it with me?
Put it in between the bag.
In between this. He says, I want you to have it, and he signed his name, and he says, don't forget to send him some tapes that I know. A lot of numbers I can not think on the spot, and every 5 minutes later I can, you see I got it. Because I didn't play him for so many, I know them, but you don't use it. But that's what's Statman. That's Frye. Now I hear that he's doing well, he's recording, he's playing, and I see that he's really good. The clarinet, he told me that he's playing clarinet, and that's why, yes, and that's why he plays very well. He's a good musician, no question about it.
Play something that you showed him.
At the concert. With accompaniment. I need accompaniment. We need accompaniment. A lot of stuff. You saw I would like to hear myself the numbers that we really plays them all or what. I really would like to hear that.
He plays that one in E minor.
I want you to. He plays that.
Yeah, that's the one, and it starts with the down.
I'd like to get the recording.
Yes,
I'd like
we'll
to
find
get
one.
it.
They're on sale, I'm sure.
But the best proteges, that's the one. Charles is the best. Yeah, I gotta say, he really. I mean, he just took Stanley took just a few numbers. Stanley, understand? But Charles really. But he went himself. I don't know the things that they play. A lot of new things.
Yeah.
Which, see, I'm out because see where I live. And I feel very bad about that. I love because I love it. But
to the end that you're holding.
I haven't got these fellas, and they are one thing. The connections that they make. He knows everybody. Right? It's a new number. But Charles can always give me more. I'll ask him if one thing. Charles will always send it. But he knows that if I like, it's got to be something good, or else because I'm not interested. No, just all of them. If they're not special, and Charles will always do that. A new number. If it's something real good, he knows that I like. Charles will send it to me, right, Charles?
Sure. That's the one he plays on the
Here, you want to play mandolin, Charles?
Is that your mandolin?
I didn't bring no instrument.
Really?
No.
It's mine.
Charles, everything's I came without instruments because I'm gonna travel from here.
Oh, where to?
I have very good mandolins. I got 3 mandolins.
What kind of
I have like this. A2 Gibson, which is made fixed up, very special. I have an F4, and I have a Lionel Hill.
Oh, yeah.
Scroll.
That's like a classic. That's like a concert. Man.
Which one do you play the most?
You see, I play the A because the other one I have a pickup. Because when I have to go to the A, I want to put out a pickup on 4. He doesn't let me. He says, don't kill it. Understand? He does not to spoil the mandolin because the F4 is really good. You know, you got a lot of F4s. And believe me, the others I wouldn't give you half of the money. You know, Satan, you give me 10, I'll pick up 1. There's always a difference from one to the other. But the Lionel Hill is for classically. It's the quality, the softness, and this. But commercially, it's not good.
Yeah.
You see, it hasn't got the, understand, the part. That's not an instrument to play. So I got 3. Truthfully, why I got 3, and I sold all the other. I had guitars, the same thing, so many. I have 2 left. I have the Gibson 400 Special guitar, Charles. Some guitar was. And I sold because in Florida, you know, there we had a big basement in New York, in Berkeley, you know, Charles, and we had room to keep them. And in Florida, although I got a 3-bedroom, you know, the most you can get is a 3-bedroom in the condominium. It's 2. They call it 3-bedroom, you know. That means 2-bedroom and 1-bedroom. That means 1-bedroom means 1-bedroom, kitchen, and living room.
Right.
That's how they call it. I know it's different than you. So I thought, what am I going to do with all these instruments, with the bass
Put
there?
them under the bed, huh?
So I said, Charles is my source. I don't even have to bother now. You know, Charles, there's no question of price of this. I know Charles is going to sell it and give me the right price. So I just said, Charles, sell these instruments. It's impossible for me to take them all. But I still have about 10 to
Your guitar is in Portland, Oregon. It's not far from here if you want to visit it.
I have still about 10 to 12.
You play guitar, too?
I don't know what to say to play. We play everything, but I don't consider... truthfully, as far as I'm concerned, I don't consider myself that I'm playing anything. You know, some people don't play and they make themselves this. I play. I like everything. I play guitar. I play the Russian guitar. I play different tunings. It was too much confusing. You know, the Russian guitar. And the only time I dropped one, the only thing I dropped Balalaikas. I dropped the Russian guitar, the Balalaika, not the drummers and this, and the bass. The minute an instrument becomes limited, it bothers me. Understand? I feel like the minute I see that you got to play only in that key to be able to play that instrument, and it hasn't got this, or hasn't got that. So right away on the Domra, I put in a 4th string.
Yeah.
So I make it. I can play all the violin numbers and everything. The mandolin is good. The mandolin is a violin. Understand?
mandolins.
I can't complain. But when they take off, make you 3 strings or 2 strings, and you can't play this, you can't play that. So I played those instruments. Same thing with the guitar. The Russian guitar has 7 strings. Believe it or not, they have an extra bass. And I played for years the Russian guitar. Whether if you give the whatever chord you have. But it came to diminished and augmented, or the 7th, and then you can't do it on the Russian. And then it's limited, certain keys. But then I saw the Spanish. I mean, it's the most advanced. I don't have to tell you in the guitar. I would say the majority of the guitar players, all they just learn a little folks, and a couple of chords, and they put in the capo and they move it, and it's truthful. This is what they do. But to me, the guitar is the most difficult to play really well guitar. These are the 2 instruments: the violin and the classic and the guitar. But you haven't got nobody goes that far enough, and it's really advanced, and they have the music, and these are the 2 instruments: guitar and the violin. But mandolin, if you really want to, you can go far and really play. You can play almost anything. But most of them don't. It's not necessary. They don't, understand? They didn't go as far, like on the violin you find music, but mandolin is it.
Yeah, that's not
I love. See, I have 3 mandolins, but I haven't got the other instruments. See, the others I sell. And see what I'm leaving?
That's great.
Let's see. Okay. Now, did you have any teachers, or did you teach yourself?
The only teacher that I had is the violin in Europe. Never had a teacher, but I played, and I always learned. Truthfully, I don't think there's anyone who would say that I copied. I never copied. When you give me an instrument, I will always find out and take out the best. What's the best tone and what's the best quality? What's the best way of holding to produce the tone? This, understand? Whether it's an accordion, I'm not an accordion player. I bet I can. I showed this fellow. He plays pretty good accordion. But I have an accordion. I played almost every instrument I play, understand? Because I don't practice it enough, so I wouldn't consider myself, as a player. I'll take a player number, you think I'm a player. But I'm not. But I always find out myself what to take out from the instrument, the best of it. Because I know quality. Oh, I'm a critic when I hear the greatest. And naturally, I'll never be as good as them. I understand? The great one, but I know the difference from one to the other. So I always find out the best. So on the accordion, just yes, he plays the way they teach. Everybody teaches the accordion on the left hand. They have very bad left hands, American accordionists. Because when they play in the groups, which is first class accordions, I'll probably never play like they do. But when they do teach here, when they teach the accordion, they use the 2 fingers here to play bass like this. They do 1, 2, and then they change. They still use the same finger. I think that was it. Nobody did that. And I know this is the schooling, and there's some good accordions, but I'll never play like they do. But this is the truth because I don't practice. But I fool around a little bit and I play right and left, and I can see why they should do that. I just can't see. I think, look, I'm not going to perform, not going to be. Let me try to find out myself. So I find out a way that I'm using not only the 2 fingers, I'm using all 4. So I can play 3 basses. They can play 2, and they're good accordionists. And so, give me, they do that. I want the 3rd bass and the 4th bass. I can give you this because I use all my 4 fingers. All I do, I switched. I do this, and I can use this. And only for myself, I think to myself, I bet it's wrong, but I find it good. Finally, there's I meet one very good accordionist. So yesterday, this guy This not Greg. I'm speaking about a real professional. Greg is a good talented. He's not a he's a terrific talent. Greg, exceptionally good. But I can tell him playing. But Greg, yes, he plays his bass pretty good. Very considering the right hand is balanced. That's good. But I say to him, listen, just like it. So I said, why don't you do it like this? Why did he grab me? Why do I just sit down? And he's going to practice it.
I bet he will.
And I'm not an accordionist. I swear to you, I'm not even considering myself. But these are the things you got to take out the best. I always knew what's a good sound, what's smooth, which one is brilliant, which one produced. One thing I'll say, Charles surpassed me when it comes to know what quality picks and what strings and what that. He knows, he even knows how to. How come you didn't make one? I'm really surprised at this guy. See, that I never went to. How to. I know the correctness. And the tune this bothers me. It's got to be perfect. But how to make it now? Charles is. Charles went further than that. And this is a Frye. You got to know how to bring it. But some good players play the wrong way this time, and they play well. I'm speaking about those that play well. But she has a style. I'm telling you that she did that in that jazz. That she did very good, very good.
Great.
She is. She's a.
He taught me.
And the instrument, I can tell that she's good.
Mandolin?
She can keep an instrument that well. Especially you made it, I still can't believe it. But see, to make it and to keep it in tune like that. Some you can give them a good instrument, they don't keep it in tune. Well, you must have a very sharp ear. You must have.
The handmade, custom made?
This is Japanese. It's a.
What's that?
Mandolin.
It's a mandola. Made by.
Let me ask you about.
Yes, go ahead. Now you ask me more.
Did you meet Howard Frye?
I played with Howard Frye. I'll show you a program. The Vivaldi Concerto for 2 mandolins in town hall with an orchestra. I was the one who played with that.
Great.
Oh, Homer Frye was a and how? Homer Frye was everything. The same thing played there. See, there's very few play music commercially in by ear and pick up and know everything. See, this I would say Homer Frye was the only one. Charlie. Really, the only one that I knew. And I knew a couple of players that I would say they are really tops.
Who was the best player you ever met?
The best player, now we're coming back to players. Listen to me. You have players, what type of play? Do you want classical? You have some that I know. In fact, by playing commercially, I spoiled myself too. You lose something about that real fine touch. There is such a thing. You cannot play all kinds of music.
Yeah.
And the worst thing is, especially what I did, and Homer did the same thing. Homer was terribly spoiled, very rough playing, because we played not only this, we played the bass. You play the bass Balalaika for 2 weeks. You know how you're gonna play. You're gonna play like this. Your fingers are gonna go that slow.
Yeah.
And we like to learn all these other instruments, and it's not good. So I know some players that play only that instrument and play understandingly. The best what I heard is from Italy.
Oh.
Have you ever met
what's his name? Yeah, go
an
ahead.
English guy named Hugo Dalton?
I heard the name, but
He plays classical, you know.
I
around
heard the
back,
name.
and a lot of finesse. Very sweet.
No, I didn't.
Howard Frye was his stage name. We all know him by his real name.
Oh, which
He
is
had a
what?
very unusual first name. His name was
Homo.
Homo sapiens.
Yeah,
His
Homer.
parents were very well taken with the elevation of man, and they named him Homo sapiens.
Oh.
Friar.
Are you kidding?
No, so we all call him Homo.
Homo.
It sounds,
We all call him
it's
Homo. Did you know
it's
him? You
nothing to
didn't
do
know
with
him?
anything. That was his name.
He died young.
Really?
He died a
Yeah.
young man.
That's too much.
I played before we played in town. I got a program. Homer Frye and Martin Gilligan and myself. The two of us played Vivaldi.
That's a great piece.
How about Dave Apollon? Did you ever see
Yes,
him?
I didn't play with Dave Apollon, but I was one day, and who was there? I'm trying to think of the players. And we came to his home, and he had 6 Gibsons. He had the best. He was the first one to get a 5F. They made special for him.
Gibson.
Gibsons, I said, not Gibson.
Oh,
Gibson. He played only on the Gibson.
F5.
In F5. And he had
F5,
excellent mandolins. And he had so many, he tried to sell.
That's
So
what,
we
that's
came
all I
there,
ever
we-
hear about him. Everybody that ever knew him said he tried to sell them on the
He tried to sell those mandolins. And we knew we wanted to play too. Now, I want to tell you as a player, a lot of people are fooling themselves. He was not a great player. He couldn't play pieces what I play. And he couldn't do certain things. But that man was a showman that, believe
Oh,
me,
yeah.
you never can beat him. He knew how to play the certain numbers. But if you actually had to sit down, we should play, he wasn't. I wouldn't
Everything was
consider.
by ear. He didn't read music.
He couldn't do it. He
He just
couldn't.
memorized.
But he was
Stylistically, he
a
was amazing.
showman.
on stage, huh?
The same thing as this Balalaika player. What's his name? Sasha.
Sasha Paul, but
Sasha Pan. Sasha Pan is not. He got Balalaika player better than him. Yeah, as far as playing. But he'll go on the stage and he'll play a number. It's there's something. I understand. It's. Yet these people didn't study, so they don't know the real fine touches, the fine techniques, and this. But they're great. They're great. Natural talent. So Dave Apollon was not.
He was.
Don't, I see, that's why I never go by publicity. You can build a name, they become the world greatest, and you are nothing. Yet you have that are really great. I'll tell you one who's really surprised me that I know already so and I didn't know that he's really that good. See, you I know from top to bottom. I know you from the beginning and I know the end. You no question that child. I know him, at least I recognize. But this is Dave.
Dave Cooper.
Dave Cooper.
Yeah, you have to meet him.
I didn't know that Dave Cooper. I'll tell you, Dave Cooper is really very talented. I like what he played, what he interpreted with the Houston to the concert. Perfect. See, perfect time. I know what to expect. I mean, if I would know this, is this a professional? Because I can hear it's not. I know. I mean, I can hear immediately. But knowing the caliber of the players, knowing the numbers what they play, the timing and the speed and the changes and the dynamics, really surprising. I was really, see, knowing such that it's weak players, actually weak players, not playing. And he went several times and needed, I gotta get, and see, here's a fella. It's just the opposite of everyone else. He never says anything. You know that? You never hear him complain. You know, other people know nothing, they'll show off, right? And he never says a thing in a quiet way. He's so first today I found he's a talented fellow. He's really good. He doesn't talk, he doesn't say nothing.
You want to play something?
No, I don't
Say
play.
something.
I don't
You
play
gotta
with that.
play.
See, it's got to be
Is this-
a special mood, a place. You got to be with accompaniment. You don't just see. This is not like an
Yeah,
automatic.
I'm starting to
No, you
show
don't.
You've heard of it.
Yeah,
Oh, I know.
They're doing
That
the
one
Mandolin,
looks
Mandolin.
exceptional.
Isn't that great?
What? Whose is that?
Mandola.
Let me see that. What is that?
They're starting to do mandolins, mandolins.
The Japanese are beautiful instruments,
Isn't
just
that
to
too
look
much?
at. I never find that. They copy, they make them the most beautiful. There's something in
Yeah.
quality.
This
No.
is close.
Oh boy, does it ring, you know?
Got it.
You can play with all this. You gotta have
Pick guard.
Let me see.
a god. For orchestra is very. You gotta have a god. I can't even, you know, sure you gotta have that. You can put it up yourself.
Yeah, I think it's not mine. It's borrowed.
And the string is not. It's
It's for sale.
These people are all right, I'm telling you. When I see that they have the right tune, they keep good, that means that they know we're good here together.
Play one Romanian.
Yeah, play.
You can't chance. No, I can't.
He'll play with you. He'll come to
I
you.
need accompaniment. Accompaniment.
Accompaniment.
No, you need accompaniment. It's not gonna come out good. It's just like you're not in that mood.
Pretend you're giving me a lesson.
It's not in that mood. Well, it's enough. Charles plays it. I'm telling you, he plays it just as good. Believe me, even better. Charles play. Give me a guitar. I'll accompany on the guitar. You haven't got a guitar.
Play
No.
just a few notes. We'll see if it comes out. They want to see. Maybe you don't know how to play.
Yeah, maybe you just
That's-
don't.
That's the way to bluff, you know? That's the way, didn't it? What?
Good number.
I'm thinking of that bass. Mandolin. There's one more part I got to this now. I got it, yes. You know, it comes to me and I'm combining. I wrote it down. I want to combine it to make it this. This is Romanian. That is good. Oh, there's a lot. There's a lot. See, when it can come, I can stop playing as it comes. It comes to the, but see, I didn't use this much because mostly I play, you know, with the Russian or with music with the mandolin. You know, we played real only with music, reading, and then by ear I like. You see, when it comes to play by ear, I know everything. Not the Russian. I know Romanian. I know the Russian. I know the Hungarian. I know the Israeli, Jewish. You go back, I don't care how far with all those numbers, especially Russian, the older ones. I know from way back, 50, 70 years back, and I know the new ones. The only thing that I fell behind is the last few years. If there's new stuff coming in now, I'm not in touch with them. Understand? I'm not in touch, but I know. But don't take me long to pick it up.
Yeah.
Don't take me long to pick it up. Right, Charles? Charles took over my, and I don't think there's anyone more popular than Charles. There isn't a state, there isn't a place. You say Charles Rappaport, they know Charles Rappaport. Every corner of the United States, even in Europe they heard of it. In Russia they know Charles. It's a fact.
Yeah. They know too much.
I know, here's a fella, this is a man. What's surprising, we were talking, you know, he was young that time, he started to play and he started to play well. And he had, that time I know he graduated college and he had a good job. And this was the three of them, him and Marvin. And both were teaching, had good jobs, good teaching jobs. And you know, you're young, you get a salary, you start making money. Listen, now yeah, they quit. They quit, he quit, they three of them quit, and they started music to play. So I admired it, you know, and I said, well, I wasn't wrong with Charles. Charles is the fellow, and he really...
We're sure glad
we hit a
you moved into the
good
same
thing.
block.
We never thought it would last this long.
And with Charles,
12 years
really, he's
already.
gone. Look, you
Same
much.
group?
No, we
No.
played together, change groups a couple times, but I've been professional,
That's
so
great.
I've done nothing else.
You see the place. I was with him in a week in Charles. When was it? Last 2 years
2
ago.
years.
I spent a week Charles to Atlantic. I want to come there and you'll see the place we played. I played with them for 1 week in that restaurant at the top. Where you call that restaurant?
Sundial.
It's
Sundial,
the the biggest hotel there.
We've been there
70
continually for
stars,
6
the only
years.
one.
7 days a week for 6 years.
You would see, let me tell you
Steady
something.
kid.
Steady, yeah.
I'll tell you something. That's all right, Charles. You can be proud. You can tell him. I don't think that anybody else is making better than what Charles is doing there in that place.
Well, we've had the same group.
They're
for,
making really good
4
money.
years.
And
Steve
especially the
Allen was with us.
Mandolin.
That's unheard of.
Unusual.
People come back, people come after, have seen us playing 10, 12 years ago elsewhere in the country, and they walk through there and they come in. They never forget. They never forget the music. I think that's...
Yeah.
How long have you been playing, Joe?
Oh, 20-some years, 22
He
years.
met him
I was 15.
when he was 15.
I'd already been playing for a while. Brooklyn.
Have you played with Andy?
Never met him. No. I know Zev Feldman very well. They made a record together.
Yeah, right. Crazy.
That's how Andy met Martin through Zev. We played together. Never met him.
You know this is okay, so give me
We were all in the same room about 15, 17 years ago. Martin, myself, Howard Frye, David Grisman, and Bill Keith.
Oh,
It
what
was
a
at a Fred
combination.
Instrument Guild convention. I remember.
Wow.
I was
David wishes he could have come.
yeah, well, I would have loved to.
He's going to
see
come
him again.
Saturday night.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
To Russian Center. That's going to be a trip. It's like another world
Oh, yeah?
in there. You walk in there, you're in old Russia. I mean, the signs are in Russian.
San
The
Francisco?
walls are crumbling. It's
Oh,
it's
wow.
fantastic.
I played so much with the Russians, with this Balalaika, that I learned the language. I speak very good Russian. I can speak, yes, I can converse.
Ah.
Well, what
We
was
were
your
in Russia
first
together.
language?
You see why? Where I was, I told you it was Russian. The people were Russian. But I was under the Romanian. It was after the war, and the Romanian took over. And then when they come in, they want to wipe out the Russian. They can't change the people if it's a Russian person to speak in the house or to speak to you. But the streets and the schooling, and that we had Romanian. I still know the national anthem, I remember. So, you know, I'll never forget. You know, it's communist now. At that time was no communist. In the state, after the war became communist. After the 40, after the war, the World War. But before that was the king. And we learned the national anthem with the king. Long live the king and so on. I remember the national anthem. So I met Romanians here. I met a few Romanians that they came to visit. Listen, to come here. And somebody says, come, I want you to meet Romanians. You know, Romanians, I go over this Romanian. So right away to show over that I'm Romanian, I start singing the national anthem. I say, long live the king, Ferdinand. So, you know, the elderly was the father, the mother, but it was a young kid, you know, when you train them, these communists, you train them. So that young one, you this other shit, she says, don't say you're a king.
We were in Russia together 2 years ago.
Yeah, well, went to Russia.
We had a good time.
I think by being the 2 weeks, I first exploded. I first, you know, I don't speak Russian much here, you know, this, but I started speaking. I said, listen to the point. I'll never forget. I started to speak Russian so much that when I want to say something to Charles, I didn't want to speak. I started talking. Remember?
Yeah.
So he picks up good. But it was funny to other Americans. We were all grown. I was the only one that really spoke. I was so much, you know, there with the Russian that I didn't want to stop the Russian. So all that. So when I speak to these our friends, you know, the American fellows, Kathy, the name Kathy. Kathy was. I speak Russian to them. And then I said I can speak. I can come back to my English. That's a fact. It's fun. But it's a good speaking. It's really something Russia. It really.
Is the Balalaika Domra Association going to try and have a convention over there?
Yeah, we're planning
Next year?
For a international conference between the two world powers
And leave it
on the level of Balalaika.
And you ought to see the connections that Charles has with the when I'm telling you, when that Charles comes to Russia, I'm telling you, it's the only one he couldn't see his Khrushchev. Otherwise, that Charles, he knows how to reach, especially when it comes to these Balalaika players, the top.
Yeah.
The people
Charles.
are very, very open, but not on the initial contact, the second contact, after they know that you're all right,
Yes.
that you're interested, then everything, they can't do enough for you.
Well, but because they're afraid, they're not sure.
They don't know
what
who you
what.
Especially if you speak the language,
But
they don't know
once
what
you
you're...
speak on that, that's why I enjoyed it so much. It's worth to me.
They take you right
I
in.
could never understand
Very much.
Russia like I do now by being there.
Yeah.
How strict
Although
were
I
they?
knew, I thought I knew.
Would they let you intermingle in the town and meet
Absolutely.
people?
No, you
Yeah.
can't, you can't,
Yeah.
you can't travel freely to certain locations.
If you
It's
go
restricted.
someplace, they gonna know that you're coming there, you're
Yeah.
going there, and if they think that they gotta watch you, they might.
But
But I didn't feel I
Russians-
went, and with it's not. You can't just pick yourself up and go. You gotta make sure with them that I'm going here and so, and give the reasons and everything else. If they think that they have to watch you, yes. If they think not, so they leave you alone. But
a Russian can't come into your hotel.
Oh,
need a pass
you
to get
can't
into the hotel.
leave.
You get his
You
passport,
can't
but there's
make
red
a
tape.
move
Oh,
without.
that's
Yeah,
interesting.
It's a real
can't, they're not allowed.
police state. Listen, there's many things they have, I feel, for the poor people, because they have security. They really have security in the
You can
sense,
walk around
if you
the
don't
streets
want
at
no
night.
luxury,
No
nothing.
problem.
And you go to their homes.
A telephone call there is 2 cents.
Hmm.
To ride the taxi, not the taxi, the train or the bus is 2 pennies, 3 pennies. Cheap. To live, whatever, it's how, what kind of rooms they have, that's another story. Also, very reasonable.
Concerts are
Food.
$2.
Food or concert or food to eat for them, the main basic things, they have enough. But that's all, no more. And the worst thing that I've read, at least some people would be said, we don't need more. This where they're restricted, to be afraid to say something, or to go free, or to speak freely. This means so, truthfully, I sympathize a lot with their ideas. But after seeing the way they are, when I went into the restaurant, you know, I came with money, I wanted to spend, I came for a good time, and to eat, and I came in to sit down, and you're a stranger, the waiter, he's nice, he has to, because he has instructed to be nice, no interest whatsoever. I want to, I take out the menu, I read Russian, but he tells you in Russian that's made, I don't understand even what's made of. I wanted to know what I'm eating, the meat they can make it, I wouldn't like it. So I call him, he has no interest even there. You want to eat, don't eat. But later on, when I got acquainted with the manager, I complained, a little bit. I did, right away, and he knew I was American. And I tipped, you're not supposed to tip there. He's afraid if you want to leave $1, they're afraid. Oh, they're not supposed. But I did it. Right away, one told the other one, and I was staying, in that same hotel. Oh, you ought to see how they treated me. Then when I speak the language, I start to go, why is it like that? It's very simple. He gets his salary. There's no tip. He's guaranteed for life. He has a job. He has don't care whether you do eat or you don't eat, or whether you like it, his part, he'll get the same thing. He's not going to get more or less than that. There's no incentive.
Yeah.
And I told him, that's where your trouble is. The nose, they treat you, especially if you know that you give a nice tip. Besides that, and this, he doesn't care to produce. He doesn't care to do that. Don't you see? There's not.
Too bad.
That's why. With my wife or with friends and with people. I'm never alone. I'm never lonely. I'm never worried to be alone. I'm never worried about anything, as long as I got my instrument.
Right.
I'm wishing to be alone. Put it that way. They don't let you. They don't leave me alone. It's a fact. And while I had a business too. This wasn't that I made a living, from I had a business that I did. I was many times wishing I should get not sick. That I wanted to get seriously. I should catch a cold and be home a couple of days, so I'll be able to play.
What about recordings?
Have you ever made a recording?
Yes. Yes. With groups.
Were
With
they
groups.
available?
Would you believe? See, there's one thing about me. You'll probably have the magazine, right? It's one thing I got a very bad habit, or what I really don't know what to say. I don't keep no music. I never cared to promote my name. Isn't that something? I don't know. It's really why. When I play, I go here. I don't care. You want to put me the last one? You don't want me to play? I don't want. I'm not. I understand. I don't feel offended, and I don't. I feel about myself. I know what I am. I know how good or how bad I play. I know my faults and my good points, and I never pushed myself. I really never did. I never did, and it's bad. Don't think I'm smart like in business. I know my trick. I know what was good, and that's the reason. Now with recordings, I made no record. Would you believe that I don't have them? I broke them. No, they got lost. They got lost. They got lost. I recorded with some from the Metropolitan Opera Company, Charles, from the Wagnerian, one of the stars. A tenor from Russia came, and he was, I'm telling you, I really never heard such a voice from Russia. Came here, and he was a boyfriend. He was 25, 26, and she was 40 or but this was the boyfriend. And he was Russian, and they wanted to record. And this was Homo. I want to tell you that's weird. And he wanted to record Russian, and he brought arrangements from Europe. That's one thing I got to tell you. When it comes to these European arrangements, nobody can beat. I don't know why. Well, truthfully, they haven't got yet these arrangements that would go for the Russian music to do that. He brought from France. He brought arrangements of numbers, and this guy with a voice. So he came, it was already made. So we started to rehearse. So they call up next, they want to have players. They had like this, a bass, a guitar, a bass, a guitar, the piano, and they wanted to have mandolins or domras too, a prima and alto. So they picked two. Was Homo. And that's they called me. So they called me, and we recorded. One day we spent. We first were rehearsing, and then I think we were racing with somebody, with the conductor, the one that made them, and this Russian. They're very much, they're very show a lot of respect to the conductor, maestro, he called him. And the other one tried to tell him how to do it, not that he was. And one day he jumped up and says, he cannot take it no more. He was so polite to me all the time, maestro, he showed respect. Then finally he couldn't take it anymore. And he sent letters to all of us. There was Homo, we were the only two string. And if you with the arrangement, the music, the sound of just the six or whatever, the singing. So he calls it, we should meet him. So we met in her studio, and she was one of the stars of the Metropolitan. And she had some studio. She had, I remember, 72nd Street. We came and we recorded. And the letters of thanks that he sent individually in the recording, it was really beautiful. So I told you, everything got lost by coming to Frye.
There must be
Then, now look, one more thing I got to tell you about myself, what I want to do, and I'm going to do it while I live. And I experimented that. You know, Krieger, you know Krieger that is here. He has a studio. He bought a studio, I think, for $200,000. To him, $200,000 is nothing. Anyway, he has a regular professional studio. But business is business. To come, and I never want to do it like this. I want to record myself, not playing just one instrument. I want to play one man to be the orchestra. I want to play the bass, the accompaniment, the first, the second, the alto, the primo. I can do it.
You can do it today.
I can do it. There is the arrangement, I can do it. So I did that already years back, that I started to follow this. I used to take one tape and the other. By the time it reached the fourth, it's the story.
Oh, you need better.
I'm telling something to you, child. This is really true. So I always dream, why shouldn't I make? You know, Homer has a record. You have Homer's record? You hear it? Why shouldn't I make?
You should.
Yeah,
I should.
you
What?
got to.
I had the money and did this. Yet, I don't know, circumstances, I don't make. So what face now? Because I still belong to, I still belong. I'm already a life member and from the union, you know, in New York, 802. I got my member.
802.
802, whenever I go, 802, you know, I'm a member. So I get every month, you know, they send, you know, they still send me because I'm a member, you know, and I pay my dues even today. Although I don't play in New York, but I don't want to give it up. I've been so for so many years. So you read everything new, so they have now, it's only $2,000, which has already 4 tracks and 8 tracks.
Yeah.
See, before, you couldn't do it. They had this, and if you wanted to buy something this, you have to spend $50,000. Oh, well, listen, $50,000, I wouldn't do it. You know, didn't want to, didn't want to spend $50,000 for yourself. And this man in the studio says, come to the studio, you can do it, we'll do it. We have the profession. I want to first, you know
what
tour and test. I want to play this, I want to see whether this is, see, I want to be satisfied myself, it's good. I just don't want to play and it should come out something like, but I'm going to do it. I'm buying this, and I got to,
They have cassettes.
we're going to have a record, it's going to be one man, played at the whole, full orchestra.
Well, we can't wait.
No, that's a fact. This right now, and it happened here. In fact, Greg told me. He told me already, gave me the number of the machine and that, Greg, he told me the number of the machine. So I'm going to find out.
You should.
New York.
Yeah, and then you can.
Because I can do it. Why shouldn't I play the prima? Why do I need somebody else to accompany me? Why shouldn't it'll be one man? I don't think, did anybody do it? Did you know?
Yeah, I've seen a record.
For Russian
For
Who?
Yugoslavian music.
Because I
Maybe
played
that-
every instrument, because every time I wanted, if I didn't let me play on the bass, or didn't let me, because he always wanted me to play the phrase, you need a phrase, you know, a good phrase. I said, if I don't play the bass now, so I played. The minute I played and I was satisfied, I feel I can play it. Okay.
Which instrument would you put down first?
I like the melody, but I like so much, don't you see, I like, to me, don't start a group without a bass.
Oh, yeah.
To me, this is the fundamental thing about this. You know what's the most important in the orchestra? Is the bass and the prima. These are the two that will hold the orchestra. I don't say that we don't. Then the middle registers, no altos and this, the cellos, you need them. So sometimes you play some orchestras, they play too tinny here. When it comes to a group, it's got to be the middle too. It's got to be the whole thing and send them. But the basic thing is the give me a good first and the bass. This will hold the group, the orchestra. This is the most important. These two. Whether it's a small group, because if he's not a good bass player, if he doesn't give you the right, and if the first one doesn't, in the middle, they're a little bit weaker. I'll pass out. And the same. Look, we all want to have all good players, no question.
Yeah.
But this is the basic. Is the two. The first.
So would you put the melody down first and then stack the rest on the recording?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Yes, first you do the melody. Then by hearing my melody, then I'll accompany. Then I'll just like we play together. You play and suddenly give me that answer. I'll follow what you're doing because you're doing the lead. Because to do that phrase, I don't know what to base it on. Melody comes first. Harmony comes next. Then you give the percussion too. I'll use tambourines, drums, different effects, everything. Charles, we got to do it. What the hell? If Martin leaves, at least I'm dying. Nobody heard from me, so at least I'll leave something.
Charles can be your producer.
I'll tell you one thing. I'm predicting, Charles.
Yeah.
You with this, what I heard with the advertisement, what's her name? Stella?
Deborah.
Deborah.
Yeah.
You watch and see. I'm giving you a couple of years. You'll see. Why can't you? You know, you have people, millions of people, actually looking for something to lead them. They really looking. They really have nothing to do. And if you know how to do it, there's always ways. And I think she's going to do it. I'm telling you. I was just listening to her, the plans that she has, the ideas. And it's very easy to do it. What with these cults? Take these cults. You know how they attract and smart people. Why you say nothing? And these people are smart and from the colleges. A friend of ours, their son, such a smart fellow he was. He was already a professor in college. He was young, one of the youngest ones. He joined. So I want to know what attracted him. It seems there's certain ways of doing it. At least for music or that, you like that. These people, some of them really are bored. You have no idea how many people say, you're a happy girl. That's why you're smiling all the time. You're playing your music, you're playing that, I'm sure you have groups, you're playing, you're busy, you don't know what to do with it. I'm sure about it. Do you realize a lot of people, millions of people, are actually bored. They don't know what to do. They feel like they really don't know what to do with themselves. They're actually looking for somebody. Come on, introduce me to something. Lead me. That's why they join these goddamn crazy cults. Anything, because they really have nothing to do. Go ahead, Jeff.
Well, no, we're just hoping to make the Balalaika Association more available to people all across the country.
It will be.
They don't know
this
about
girl,
us.
I was just the one
from these
meeting.
interviews, well, you know, that should
I was just
every man
listening
in the
to
world.
that girl knows how to do it. I'm telling you.
We have room for people who don't play, who are just interested in the music. It's a good way of communication. Find out when groups are coming to their areas, and so it's we're going to start a campaign this
Have
year.
you done anything in Fred's magazine?
Nothing. No.
That
You should get
Fred's
that.
can.
Well, we
They just
notified
want to
them.
know what's happening.
We notified them about this, but I think we missed their deadline.
That's the thing.
We
They
were
always
late.
want to know, like 2 months.
2 months.
Yeah.
They got. I hope maybe there'll be something.
Well, see, now you've got orchestra rehearsal, right?
Yeah, 3.
Yes.
We got to
Okay.
go down there. Can you stay around?
I'd love to.
Yeah,
I'd love to.
I still want to get together